Shabbat Shalom, everybody. You know, you go through one thing and then something else happens. You go through one event, something else comes up. And this is the way it was in Exodus chapter 18. The Jewish people had just gotten through the Red Sea. They had seen the Red Sea part. They had seen the angel of death pass over them and so forth. And Moses had seen battles. He had seen all kinds of things, but then he comes to a little pause in the road and he had to make a change. I think you and I have to make changes sometimes. Amen. Now, Jethro, who was the priest of Midian, he was the father-in-law of Moshiach because Zipporah, who was his wife, this was her father, all right? And in the Ten Commandments movie, the Cecil B. DeMille, it's always funny to me because what's his name? Who plays Moses? Oh gosh, Charlton. Good old Charlton Heston. Charlton Heston says Zephyrah. That's how he pronounces her name, Zephyrah. That's not her name. It's Zipporah. So he comes and he sees all these things. He's got his kids. He's got Moses' kids with him. His kids were Gershom and Eleazar. And so he comes out and he tells his father-in-law, Jethro, all the things that have happened in the Pharaoh, that the Lord had done to the Pharaoh. And Moses was very specific. The Lord did this to the Pharaoh. He didn't do it. The Lord did it. And Jethro rejoiced for all the goodness the Lord had done to Israel, whom he had delivered out of the hand of the Egyptians. This is in Exodus 18. And Jethro said, "Blessed be the Lord who has delivered you out of the hand of the Egyptians, out of the hand of Pharaoh, and has delivered the people from under the hand of the Egyptians. Now I know that the Lord is greater than all gods, for in the thing wherein they dealt proudly, he was above them." He was above them. There are times where we think this world is winning. There are times we think that evil is winning. Amen. It is not. He is above it. Amen. He's far above it. And then, of course, Jethro goes on and he says, "You need some help, Moses. You can't stand around and do all this yourself." And so he advocated one of the first ideas of a kibbutz. And everybody started helping and everybody started getting involved to run the camp of the Israelites. And so I think this is a wonderful thing. But in these days in which we are living, we are thinking, sometimes people are thinking, where is God? And this is not a time for believers to be scared. There was a time when one cult came to New York City. It was a crazy cult, and people were in the subways with tracts and they were wearing little aprons. It was a Korean cult. And I don't remember all the specifics, but one young man who is a real believer came up to me in hysterics. He said, "Did you see that? Did you see that? Oh, is it true? Is it true?" And he was afraid. We cannot have a spirit of fear because God has not given it to you. He's given you power, love, and a sound mind. And in the last days, men's hearts will fail them from fear. So let us remember this scripture. It is in Exodus 18:11. "For I know that the Lord is greater than all gods." Do you know that the Lord is greater than all gods? "For in the thing wherein they dealt proudly, he was above them." Be sure when you see people dealing proudly. In Washington, people are dealing proudly. In the United States, people are dealing proudly. And even in the whole United States and in the world, it's true, there is great sin towards womankind. But it is not true that the womankind should retaliate in the same way to those who have been sinning against them, the Me Too movement, etc., etc. There's anger, there's suspicion, there's even paranoia in America right now. Only prayer can put it down. Only prayer can shut it down. And we will see this happen because he is above.